Hello everyone and welcome back to the DHS Sports Broadcasting Club Pick Show. This is our first pick show of the 2024 season. Obviously, we graduated some guys. Shout out to Nate Johns and Jake Spicer. They're both at Penn State, right? Just different Penn States. They're doing their thing. So it's Kerry Sittler now, Noah Greco, and Charlie Rishway. And yeah, we're gonna make some picks for you guys. Where are we starting with? Scranton, West Scranton, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. So for Scranton, they're coming off a 34-6 win at home against Pocono Mountain East. They're currently undefeated, 3-0, one of two undefeated teams in Division I. And they're led at quarterback by Brody Coyle, who's had himself a pretty good start to the season. And also Memphis Shadow, running back, shout out and elite. Reese Whitman also gets involved. Both of those guys are already over 200 yards rushing for the season, so they're having a pretty strong start to the year. And on the West Scranton side of things, they are coming off of a 13-3 home loss to Hazleton, and that knocks them down to 0-3 on the season. So currently one of two winless teams in Division II. And some notable players for West Scranton include Dayron Groves, who's also above 200, almost 300 rushing yards this season. But other than that, they haven't been really able to get much going through the air. No passing touchdowns thus far through 3 games in this season for them. So that's kind of the rundown. And yeah, I'll let you start, Gary.
I think for me, pretty easy pick, Scranton. Easy.
Yeah, I think Scranton is going to be too much for them Invaders to handle, so give me Scranton.
I mean, I don't really know how West Scranton's defense is going to stop their Scranton's rush game. Give me Scranton.
All right, and so for our next game, we will do Wilkes-Barre area at Dallas. So for Dallas, obviously they're coming off a 0-3 start to this season. Obviously what they do last year, they're undefeated, right?
Now it's the opposite.
So now they're winless to start. Obviously, we saw last Friday they lost at home 30-13 to Abington Heights. That currently makes them, they haven't played any divisional games yet, but they're 0-3 in division. They're one of two winless teams in Division I along with Valley West. Led at quarterback again by Zapaticki, who's having himself a pretty good start to the year. Offense hasn't been too bad. Before Abington, they put up a fight against your boys over there at Wyoming area. They put up 41 points, still wasn't enough, but and they're led on the ground by Zapaticki as well as Dylan Geske. But on the Wilkes-Barre area side of things, they're coming off a 25-20 loss at home versus Valley View. So that would put them at 1-2 on the season. And some notable players, they're led at quarterback by Jake Howe, who has almost the same amount of yards as Zapaticki. So two kind of high-flying offenses. Not too much going for Wilkes-Barre on the ground. And they do have Davon Underwood, who's a pretty good player, also above 200 yards on the season. So honestly, pretty evenly matched in terms of what these teams look like. Both of them kind of looking to turn around. So what do you got?
Yeah, obviously I want Dallas to win, but I'm playing for correct picks. I want right picks, so I'm going Wilkes-Barre because they're.
Does that hurt you?
No.
No. Good. All right. I'm playing for correct picks as well, so that means I'm gonna have to go with the Dallas Mountaineers to get their first win of the season. Versus the Wolfpack. I don't care. I've been burned by not picking Dallas in the past. It's come back to haunt me. I'm not letting that happen again. I'm picking Dallas in this game because I don't think the Wolfpack is going to be able to match their grit.
All right. In Mackey Stadium, I think the guys finally get it together. I think they pick up this big win.
All right. So now this guy's going to look like a hater. He's going to get jumps like crazy Steve. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
I'll stop him again.
You're going to have to because I'm sure he's going to have something to say. But So what's our next game here? We got Pittston at Valley West. So obviously Pittston area went 5-6 last year. They're coming off a 55-0 home shutout win. Absolute punishment. You know how much I love the punishments.
Yep.
And we'll get to the punishment of the week later. Don't worry about that. That's still a segment. But 55-0 home win versus Nanticoke out there at Charlie Trippy Stadium. But yeah, that was Pittston area's first win of the year. They're led at quarterback by Matt Walter with 129 passing yards on the season. And on the ground, they have Walter's their second leading rusher. You know, they have a dual threat quarterback, but also CJ Petruzak on the ground with almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season. So they're a pretty balanced offense. And as for Valley West, they're also, I believe, winless on the season.
Yeah.
They went 1-9 last year, winless this season. Coming off a loss to a good North Pocono team, 23-7 at home. And not much has been going good for them this season. The leading passer is Damian Eastman, but he's got more interceptions than touchdowns throughout the season, kind of like what we saw with Will Levis.
Shout out Will Levis.
Shout out Will Levis. Yeah, their highest rusher, they have not gotten anything going on the ground. Their highest rusher is 46 yards. That's Paul Riggs. But they do have Tyler Mattis who can kind of punish you through the air. 231 yards, 3 touchdowns on the season for him. But yeah, that's the tail of the tape there. So who you got?
I would say it's pretty clear to me. I mean, we have a returning senior on Pittston.
Who is that?
Cousin Junebug.
Cousin Junebug. He's coming back.
He's playing fullback. He runs around. He's real good.
I already take stuff too.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so you're on Pittston area. Remember, this is at Spartan Stadium, so the Valley West Trojans have the home advantage.
They also have an 0-3 record.
That's what I was going to get to. They do have an 0-3 record, and if you look at what happened this past weekend, the Pittston area Patriots, what did the Patriots just do? They shocked the world. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals, so I'm going with the Pittston area Patriots. I just think their offense is going to be too much for the Valley West defense to handle, so especially because of how balanced they are. So give me the Pittston area Patriots.
I think upset of the week.
Whoa!
I got Valley West.
Whoa! You really believe
Crazy.
New turf. I think they get it done at home.
All right, so he's picking the Spartans.
First win of the season.
First win of the season. He thinks they're going to get it done at home. So now we'll move on to Lackawanna Trail at Dunmore. These were 2 really good teams last year. Obviously Dunmore's fallen off a little bit, but Lackawanna Trail coming off a 13-1 record last season, led by Steve Jervis, and they just beat Berwick at home 35-0. Trail is obviously doing pretty well for themselves this season. They're obviously one of the better rushing offenses around, year in and year out. They've already got 2 guys over 200 yards rushing for the season. That's Demetrius Douglas and Isaac Ryan. Both of them have 4 passing touchdowns to go along with that as well. So pretty good, pretty dangerous, explosive rushing offense there. And as for Dunmore, they're starting off this season 0-3 after going 12-3 last season. So they've already matched their loss total from last season this year. They're coming off a 21-25 loss at Susquehanna. So they're very similar in construction, at least on offense, to Dunmore. They have 2 guys over 200 yards rushing. That would be Dave Franek and Xavier Burke. But they also have Ryan Mecca, who has 100 rushing yards on the season. So 3 guys over 100 yard rushing for the Dunmore Bucks. what we like to say last year, fear the deer.
That's right.
So yeah, and their quarterback, Jake McNeff, also hasn't been doing too bad. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So they've kind of just had a rough start to the season, but they're going to be looking to turn it around this Friday against Lackawanna Trail. So who you got?
I was at the Dunmore versus Riverside Week 1 game.
You were.
And I will tell you, Dunmore, I think, isn't as bad as the record shows. I mean, the last 2 games, they only lost by 3 and 4 points. So they're no slouch, but I mean, Trail is one of the best teams around right now. I think gotta go Trail on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Lackawanna Trail too for all those reasons you described. I mean, they lost 1 game last year, and they don't look like they've slowed down at all. So give me Trail.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very run-heavy game, both sides of the ball. I think Trail is just going to be a better running team than Dunmore. Give me Trail.
All right, Trail. And then up next we have Nanacoke at Tunkhannock. Nanacoke coming off a 7-5 record last season, and they're coming off that 55-0 loss to Piston area out there at Trippy Stadium. But yeah, it's been a little rough for Nanacoke to start the season. They have let up 127 points thus far this season on defense, most in Division II, so that's obviously not great. And they've started out 0-3. Yeah, but on the offensive side of the ball, they haven't really been able to find their footing at all through the air. They have yet to score a passing touchdown. Obviously led by Mike Stokowiak at quarterback. And the same story on the ground. Their leading rusher is Treston Allen with 42 rushing yards. So not much going for Nanacoke thus far this season. Yeah, and as for Tunkhannock, obviously they're coming off a 4-6 record last year and a 55-15 loss to Crestwood. Obviously Crestwood's a pretty good team. Yeah, Tunkhannock is 1-2 to start the season, and they actually have been pretty solid on defense. They've allowed the least points in all of Division II. And as for their offense, they're led at quarterback by Zach Latwinski, and some of their notable players on the ground are Carver Lewis with 120 yards, and they're probably the most notable receivers, Andrew Lupinski with 116 yards on the season. So pretty balanced offense, and yeah, I'll turn it over to you.
I mean, this game, I think, is what I like to call a tank bowl.
Tank bowl, 2 teams. What's it going to come down to?
It's going to come down to special teams.
Really?
These are 2 special teams right here.
That's right.
And I think this tank bowl will actually be the Tunk Bowl. I think Tunkhannock will probably win because Nanacoke, they've scored 7 points in the first 3 games combined. It's pretty bad.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go for the Tunk Bowl. You know, those boys are going to be ready out there. Give me Tunkhannock. They've just shown more bright spots than Nanacoke has thus far this season. So give me Tunk. I think those boys are going to be fired up, coming out of the trees down there, getting ready to play.
Yeah, I mean, Nanacoke's quarterback is 53 yards and 32 attempts.
Yeah.
Not a single passing touchdown or a single rushing touchdown. With that being said, give me Nanacoke.
Whoa!
Yo.
Alright, you got to explain yourself. What?
I don't know, I just got a feeling.
He's got a
I just got a feeling.
You might have taken a visit to Trippy Stadium before we
Just got a feeling.
I think you did.
I think they get it done.
You think they get it done?
Yeah.
All right. This next one we have is Mid Valley at Holmesdale. Excuse me. This is probably going to be a pretty good game. Yeah, Mid Valley obviously starts the season 3-0, I believe. Yeah, 3-0. Their point differential looks very, very good. Only allowed 25 points in 3 games this season, so they're up there. Well, we haven't played any divisional games yet, but they're one of 2 undefeated teams in Division II, and the other one is Western Wayne, who just beat Lackawanna Trail. So Western Wayne's also looking pretty good. So pretty strong conference over here, or division, excuse me, in Division II. But yeah, they're led at quarterback by Brett Yanowski, who's thrown for 236 yards on the season, and Jacob Lesher is his favorite target with 123 yards. And he also has rushed for 662 yards and 8 touchdowns through 3 games this season. So yeah, it's pretty clear who they want to get the ball to on this offense for the Mid-Valley Spartans. And Honesdale, 3-7 last season, but when Hornets came to play this season, they're 2-1 to start the season. Coming off a loss to Wallen Popak, which was their first loss of the season. But they're 2-1 to start the season. Led at quarterback by Aiden Collins, who's having himself a pretty nice year. And they also have a pretty strong rushing game. 3 guys over 100 yards, including their quarterback. But their primary rusher is Mason Avery with 363 rushing yards, and they're led through the air by Conlon Keese with 105 receiving yards, on the season. So 2 really run-heavy offenses, 2 teams off to pretty hot starts. And go ahead and kick us off.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Jake Spicer's cousin. I think he went to Honesdale or Carbondale, one of those.
One of the Dales.
Yeah.
Hey,
But I'm gonna go.
Pretty sale.
That's right. And I'm gonna go with Mid-Valley. I think
Really?
they're the stronger team.
It's disrespecting Spicer, but
That's right.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Mid-Valley because I can't see a way that you can pick against them on how they started the season. Because they have that unbelievable rushing offense led by Lesher, but also just their defense has been lights out so far to start the season. So I'm gonna go with Mid-Valley. Shout out, like I do every time I pick them, Dixon City Hyundai, because they're sponsoring Mid-Valley, but we're not affiliated.
Yes, sir.
Only question in this game is, will Honesdale be able to stop Jacob Lesher?
Mhm.
And I really just don't see that happening. Give me Mid-Valley. Mid-Valley big.
Mid-Valley big.
Yeah.
You think this is gonna be a punishment of the week type game?
No, just a 20+ victory.
20+ victory.
Yeah.
That's what Charlie Richroy says about this game. So next up, we're going to Western Wayne we're going to Crestwood, where Western Wayne is going to take on the Crestwood Comets, the Wood, as you would say. Western Wayne off to an unbelievable start to this season. They went 8-4 last year. They were a solid team last year. I'd say one of the better teams around, probably. But this season, they haven't dropped a game, and they've won pretty much every one of their games in really big ways. They beat Lackawanna Trail 28-7, which I think is very impressive. And they beat your Wild Warriors
That's right.
34-23, so I'm sure that gives them some respect in your book. They haven't lost a game this season. Put up a Division II leading 104 points on offense through 3 games. They're led on the ground by Josh Vinton with 445 yards and 6 touchdowns, and with John Piatt at quarterback. His favorite target is Sean Owens with 125 yards on the season, but that's the scoop on Western Wayne. Their defense has also looked pretty solid this season. Crestwood coming off a 5-6 season and a 55-15 win out there against those boys at Tunkhannock Memorial Field. Crestwood is currently 1-2 on the season, which is the best record in Division I so far. There's a 4-way tie. 4 teams are at 1-2, but not looking great in Division I so far. But they're pretty close in their points differential. They're led by Jaden Shedlock still at quarterback. Obviously, was injured a little bit last season, but he's off to his usual start, almost 200 yards through the air. But where they really make their money on offense, I think, is on the ground. They're one of those other teams with 300-yard rushers, and Jaden Shedlock is included in one of those. Most of the offense is going to run through him, obviously. He's rushed for 304 yards on the ground from the quarterback position.
Incredible.
And also Giovanni Barna and Jacob Jekyll, both with 100+ rushing yards on the season. So that's the scoop for Crestwood. So Western Wayne at the Wood.
That's right. As much as I want to say let the Wood cook, but I think Western Wayne, I think it's hard to beat them. They beat the Lackawanna Trail and the Wall Warriors, and those are 2 hard opponents.
You know about the Warriors too.
W Western Wayne.
WW Western Wayne, huh? Yeah, I think that Western Wayne is going to be able to beat the Wood as well. It's another one of those games where it's like, why would you pick against them? Because they just started off, especially this early in the season, they started off so hot, and you just haven't seen anybody be able to really stop them at all. So, especially because they're playing in that tough Division 2 as opposed to Division 1. I'm going to have to go with Western Wayne.
Yeah, I mean, if you beat Trail, I think you could really beat anybody.
Really?
I got Western Wayne.
Yeah.
He's got Western Wayne, all right. Yeah, we'll move on to our next game, which is going to be Abington at Valley View. Obviously, both these teams coming off pretty solid seasons last year, especially Valley View, who was the district runner-up. They lost to Dallas, obviously.
They
But
slice
yeah,
their grapes too.
they do slice their grapes. And which Starburst do they like?
Huh?
Which Starburst do they like?
Orange.
Orange Starburst, that's right. But yeah, Abington coming off a 7-5 record last season. Also coming off that 30-30 win at Mountaineer Stadium. We got to cover that. But Abington off to a 2-1 start to the season. And yeah, they're led through the air by Nick Bradley, who we saw is a very good player last Friday. He made some really good throws and was able to get it done on the ground. So I think they're set with him at quarterback. He's over 100 yards rushing for the season and 350 yards passing. His favorite, and he has two really good targets as well. Gavin Anders, who also plays lacrosse, and Sean Theodore. So both of those guys are over 100 yards rushing on the season, and they also have Dominic Bergetti, who's shown he's able to get it done on the ground, closing in on 200 yards through this young season. So I think they have a really balanced offense, and their defense is not bad either. They haven't, through 3 games, yet to allow more than 50 points total. And like I mentioned earlier, Valley coming off a 10-3 record last year. They're coming off of a 25-20 road win versus the Wilkes-Barre area Wolfpack, who we'll be seeing on Friday. Play the Mountaineers, but yeah, as for Valley View, they've started off 2-1 this season. One of their losses came to Scranton Prep, who is a divisional opponent. But yeah, they've actually had a negative points differential, but still, you have to look at the record. They're 2-1. They haven't had a bad start at all. They've kind of had a little bit of a rotation at quarterback. They're still trying to figure things out. Casey Malsberger and Zach Swolinski both getting action. Both of them are close to 100 yards through the air, but they're another one of these teams that make their money through the ground. They always have. They've kind of been a team actually built similarly to Dallas. 300-yard rushers on the season, and most of them have multiple touchdowns. So should be a pretty interesting game. Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah, I saw what Abington was able to do in Dallas. I think Valley View, in my opinion, is a similar team to Dallas, so I think Abington will beat them.
Sneak dissing on Dallas again.
I'm just
You
saying.
better watch out. Crazy Steve's gonna get you. All right. For me, I think this is pretty clear. I think I have to go with Abington. They're another one of those teams that's in a very, very tough division, but and they've been able to do pretty well for themselves. So obviously they haven't played any divisional games, but they've still been able to do pretty well for themselves. So give me the Abington Comets to get it done in this game. The blue Comets, not the red Comets, not the Crescent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As salty as I am at Abington beat us, I think Bradley gets it done through the air. And maybe they win.
All right, and then we're gonna go over to Crispin Field, where Hazelton will take on Berwick. Yeah, obviously Hazelton coming off a 2-8 season last year, led by Dennis Buckman at head coach. They're coming off a 13-3 win at the West Scranton Invaders, so they were able to, I believe, get their first win of the season. Yep, their first win of the season last week against the West Scranton Invaders. They're one of the 4 teams that's tied for number 1 record in the Wyoming Valley Conference Division I standings. So, yeah, That's where they're at this season. They've only scored 26 points on offense though, so if they're gonna win, they like to try to do it on defense. But they're led at quarterback by Austin Wilson, who has about 150 passing yards on the season. But Johansson Moran with 12 receptions for 124 yards and a touchdown on the young season, so pretty solid receiving option. And then again, they have two players over 100 yards rushing. Obviously, their running back, Hunter Johnson, but their quarterback is also up over 100 yards rushing for the season. So there's that. And for Berwick, they're 3-8, and they're coming off a loss at Lackawanna Trail. So who you got?
Yeah, I think this is the second of 2 tank bowls this week. These are 2 teams that I think aren't very impressive, but I think Berwick's looked terrible this year. I think they really fell off from how good they were a couple years ago. So I go Hazleton.
I'm actually gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with Berwick. Honestly, for the upset of the week, I guess I'll go with Berwick.
Alright. I mean, you have to agree with Kerry here.
Yeah.
I gotta go Hazleton.
All right, and then we got North Pocono at Wallenpaupack. Obviously, North Pocono off to a strong start this season. Wallenpaupack, they are starting off 2-1, so both these teams off to pretty good starts. Who you got?
Yeah, on this one, I'm going to go with North Pocono. I think it'll be a bit of a close game, maybe, but I think Pocono will get it by the.
I'm going to go with North Pocono too. You can North 3-0 start, and that great point differential, so I'm going North Pocono.
I'm also gonna go with North Pocono. I think Chase Zimmerman gets it done in the air. Been great all season. I think he keeps it going.
Awesome. All right, then we got Lake Lehman at Riverside. Riverside obviously coming off a strong season, and Lake Lehman kind of off to a better start this season than they were last season. But yeah, who you got?
Yeah, I think Riverside should take care of Lehman pretty easily. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Riverside too. I think there's too much for Lake Lehman to handle, and I think this is gonna be my punishment of the week. Woo! So give me this for my punishment of the week. I think Riverside is one of the blue chip teams in the area, and yeah, I think they should be able to handle Lehman pretty easily. So give me this for my punishment of the week. I got Riverside, sorry.
I 100% agree with punishment of the week.
There we go.
Yeah.
Give me
All right,
Riverside.
so punishment of the week. Riverside at home, I believe, versus Lehman. So
Yes.
I got Hanover at Old Forge. So obviously, Hanover area Hawkeyes have an 0-3 record throughout the first throughout the first 3 games of the season. Sorry, and Old Forge starting off 2-1 in that tough division out there with Riverside and Holy Cross Trail. So who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Old Forge in this one.
I'm gonna go with Old Forge. Shout out Old Forge Pizzas.
Shout out.
But yeah, I think you can't ignore that record in that tough division.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can't go with Old Forge. They've been-
All right. And then Lakeland at Waugh. So we got Lakeland. These are 2 kind of throwback old school teams that are going to try and run it down your throat. Let me pull it back up. This is my tab I closed, but yeah, Lakeland off to a 2-1 start to this season, so a little stronger than last year. Wyoming area also off to a 2-1 start, but obviously they lost Aaron Crosby, who was a great player for them. So who you got?
They don't need Aaron Crosby.
Here we go.
This team's amazing. I gotta say, give me the Wall
Here's the
Warriors.
Blaze. I'm gonna go with the Wild Warriors as well. Actually, no. I'm going with the Lakeland.
Hang on. Let me say one more thing.
Alright.
I mean, we saw how easily Wall was able to take care of Dallas.
Oh my goodness.
This guy, you
Holy.
Alright, I'm gonna go Lakeland because I think both of these teams are actually pretty evenly matched and they profile pretty similarly. Both are going to try to run the ball, and I think Lakeland's going to be able to do it better than Wyoming area because I don't really trust Wyoming area's defense.
You
So,
feeling okay?
yeah, no, I'm feeling fine. Give me Lakeland.
As much as I hate feeding into the glaze, I don't know how you can't go with Wyoming area.
Well, I'm going with the Lakeland area chief. Remember that. So what is it next? Carbondale at Holy Cross. I'll let you give them the spill on Holy Cross.
Hey, you know the lead target on Holy Cross. Is that Urio? Is that Urio?
Urio? No,
that's Cheerio bread.
There you
You
go.
mean Carbondale though? I'm going
Oh, okay, yeah. So I think these are two pretty similar teams. You know, they're both in Division 3, both are in about the same, both 2-1, but I think I trust Carbondale more, so I'm gonna take Carbondale.
I mean, I'm gonna go Holy Cross. I think their rush game is just gonna be too much for Carbondale to stop.
All right, and this is probably gonna be one of the better games this week. We got Scranton Prep at Delaware Valley. Scranton Prep obviously 2-1. Delaware Valley out to an 0-3 start though this season, but we've obviously seen them be able to be a pretty good team in the past. So they played some really strong, like out of league opponents this season to start off. So I don't think you can really look at the record to see how good they are, but we got.
Yeah, I think this will be a closer one, but I mean, Scranton Prep, I think they're the best team in the area, so I'll go with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think Delaware Valley's gonna give them more of a fight than people are expecting, but give me Scranton Prep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can't go with Scranton Prep.
And
They've been absolutely amazing.
our last game is going to be Susquehanna at Redeemer. I don't think we really need to talk about this one much. I can look at your note. What does that say?
0-10 last year for Redeemer. That's not very good. Hopefully Dallas doesn't go down that road.
What? Why do you
What?
read it? All right, I'm gonna go Susquehanna Sabres. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be much of a contest. This one's in the running for punishment of the week,
Yeah.
but it obviously didn't get it. But Susquehanna.
Leaving.
I mean, yeah, I'm okay.
No.
Give me Susquehanna.
All right, and that's going to do it for our week 1 pick show. Well, not week 1, week 4 actually, but our first pick show of the season. Make sure to tune in next week for more picks. And what do you got to tell them?
Good luck to all teams involved and roll mounts.